The issue usually isn't a single bad decision. It's something more subtle. When income increases, lifestyle expands quietly to match it. A slightly better apartment, a slightly newer car, more dinners out, more convenience. Nothing feels excessive individually, but together, these upgrades create a lifestyle that consumes nearly everything the new salary provides. Economists call this lifestyle inflation, but psychologically, it feels like something else. It feels like normal life, because the environment around you reinforces it. Friends rent similar apartments, colleagues drive similar cars, social media shows even more expensive lifestyles. So what once felt like a luxury gradually becomes the baseline. Here's where a small piece of math changes the entire picture. Let's go back to Daniel's car, $520 per month. Over 5 years, that's about $31,000 in payments, not including insurance, fuel, and maintenance. But the real cost isn't just the money spent. It's what that money could have been doing instead. If that same $520 per month were invested in a simple index fund averaging about 7% per year, over 20 years it could grow to roughly $270,000. That's the quiet trade happening behind many lifestyle choices. Not poverty versus luxury, but consumption today versus financial freedom later. And most people never see this trade clearly because the cost is spread across time. So why do intelligent, educated professionals fall into this pattern? The answer has less to do with money knowledge and more to do with human psychology. Our brains are very good at adapting. When income increases, our expectations adjust quickly. What once felt like success begins to feel ordinary. A person who used to earn $50,000 imagines that $100,000 will feel abundant. But once they reach it, they're surrounded by people earning similar amounts. The comparison group changes, and suddenly the new income doesn't feel like wealth, it just feels like keeping up. This isn't greed. It's a very normal psychological response called hedonic adaptation. We adapt to improvements quickly and then start chasing the next upgrade. If this pattern continues for 10 or 15 years, something interesting happens. Income grows, but net worth grows slowly. The person may earn hundreds of thousands, even millions over their career, yet most of that money flows directly into lifestyle. Housing upgrades, car upgrades, more expensive habits. From the outside, life looks successful, but financially, the system is fragile because the lifestyle requires the income to continue. A different way of thinking. Financially intelligent people tend to look at income differently. Instead of asking, what lifestyle can this salary support, they ask a quieter question. What portion of this income can I permanently remove from my lifestyle? In other words, how much of today's earnings can quietly become future assets? This mindset changes small decisions. The apartment doesn't need to grow as fast as income. The car becomes a tool, not a status symbol. Raises don't immediately turn into new monthly obligations. Over time, the gap between income and lifestyle slowly widens. And that gap is what eventually becomes investments, security, and flexibility. Not overnight wealth, just gradual financial breathing room. So when someone making $100,000 says they still feel broke, it usually isn't because the income is too small. It's because the system surrounding that income quietly absorbs almost everything. Housing, transportation, convenience, and social expectations slowly expand until the margin disappears. Once you see that pattern, the situation becomes much easier to understand. Not something to feel guilty about, just something to become aware of, because awareness is usually the first step towards making different choices. Have you ever wondered how someone making $100,000 a year can still feel like they're barely keeping up? On paper, that number sounds comfortable. In many parts of the United States or Europe, a six-figure salary is often seen as the point where financial stress should disappear. But for a surprising number of people, the opposite happens. The salary increases, yet the feeling of financial pressure stays the same. The bank account doesn't look the way they expected. Saving feels slow. Investing feels difficult. And every month still feels tight. So the question isn't just why people earning less struggle. The more interesting question is, why do people making $100,000 still feel broke? A relatable scenario. Let's imagine someone fairly typical. His name is Daniel. He's 32, lives in a large US or European city, and works in a professional job, maybe tech, marketing, finance, or engineering. Daniel earns $100,000 a year. That sounds like a lot, but once taxes are removed, the number changes quickly. In many US states and in much of Western Europe, someone earning $100K might take home somewhere around $5,200 to $6,000 per month, depending on location and tax structure. So let's call it $5,500 per month after tax. Now let's look at the lifestyle that quietly builds around that income. Daniel rents a decent apartment in a major city. Rent, $2,100. He bought a car a couple years ago because commuting without one felt inconvenient. Car payment, $520. Insurance, $180. Fuel and maintenance, $200. That's already $900 per month for transportation. Daniel also has student loans. Monthly payment, $400. So before we even talk about food or entertainment, his monthly expenses look like this. Rent, $2,100, transportation, $900, student loan, $400. That's $3,400 gone already. From his $5,500 take-home pay, he now has $2,100 left. Now comes the part people rarely calculate carefully. Groceries and eating out, $600. Utilities, internet, phone, $300. Subscriptions, streaming, software, apps, $80. Gym membership, $70. Weekend activities, restaurants, small trips, maybe $400. Clothing, small online purchases, random spending, $250. Now the remaining money looks different. $2,100 minus these expenses leaves roughly $400 to $500 at the end of the month. And that's assuming nothing unexpected happens. No medical bill, no car repair, no travel, no furniture purchase, no helping family. So Daniel, a person earning $100,000 per year, is technically living a middle-class lifestyle with almost no margin. And that's the moment many people start asking, how is this possible?